Welcome to this week's Eccentric Minute, brought to you by Eccentric. This week's Eccentric Minute is one of the most slept on exercises with the K-Box, and that is the K-Box row. This exercise is going to tick a lot of boxes and really make you fight to hold your posture while working on your pulling power. For this, give yourself a little extra slack with the strap, not too much, but just enough to avoid the jarring action at the top. Give the wheel a good spin, sit your hips back, and fight to hold that position. Pinch your shoulder blades down and back, try to drive your elbows behind you, and keep fighting to not let that wheel pull you forward and make you lose your posture as you go through the exercise. This is an absolutely sensational, big bang for your buck exercise that you and your athletes, I'm sure, will love. I really hope you enjoyed this week's Eccentric Minute. Make sure you check them out at eccentric.com to find out everything you need about the K-Box and the K-Pulley. Being a strength and conditioning professional requires constant pursuit of better knowledge, better methods, and better means. But what if there was a place where strength and conditioning coaches could learn from some of the most innovative practitioners in the world, such as Jeff Moyer, Lachlan Wilmot, William Wayland, James the Thinker Smith, and Kirwenham Flatt? Well, you can find multiple lectures from each of these top-level coaches and a few lectures and examples from yours truly as well, all in the Strength Coach Network. The Strength Coach Network is going to bring you well over 100 different lectures from some of the top practitioners in the world to be your one-stop shop for your continuing education and professional development. So hop on over to strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASP today and get your 48-hour trial for only $1. That's strengthcoachnetwork.com/CVASPS to get your 48-hour trial for only $1. I look forward to seeing you in the Strength Coach Network. Vince, thank you so much for spending the time with us today, man.
Nice to meet you, Coach. How you doing? Glad to be here.
Man, I'm doing well. Glad to see you. Welcome to the league.
Cool.
First and foremost, got to take the chance to say welcome to the A10.
Appreciate that.
It's crazy how, we were just talking here off camera, and it's like the connections that we have, because you're already in the A10, spoiler alert for those listening, but like it's almost like your connections to the A10 are deeper than mine, and I've been in it for 16 years. But before we get going too far, Vince, let's let the half a human listening right now who may not know, who is Vince Williams and how'd you get up there to Rhode Island?
Vincent Williams is from PG County, Maryland. The as I say, the mecca of basketball. A lot of people, I'm sure people up and down the East Coast would like to disagree with that. But from PG County, Maryland, went to Archbishop Carroll High School. From Archbishop Carroll, went to Towson University. When I finished at Towson, got my start as an intern at GW under Ben Kenyon and under Matt Johnson. When I went from there, just kind of took advantage of all of the great strength coaches we had in the DMV. Went over to the University of Maryland, worked under Kyle Talk for 2 seasons, finished under Kyle in 2016. Got my first job as the director of basketball performance at Coppin State University. Was there for about a year and a half, then just kept going up and down the DMV. Went over to the Washington Wizards, was director of player preparation. I oversaw the Capital City Go-Go, the Washington Wizards G League affiliate, was there for 2 seasons. And then got presented with the opportunity to come up to Rhode Island and to take over as director of basketball performance here with Coach Cox and the great staff and people that are here. So just finished in my 4th week. In my 4th week now. Getting things rolling, and we're excited for the season. I'm excited to be back in the A10.
Yeah, man, and I'm fired up to welcome you back and to have you back in the league. It's a fun league. We've got some great coaches added in. Obviously losing some of the guys we did. Like you getting to replace Chase Campbell, who obviously is a really good friend of mine. I say this all the time when we talk to people. Like I think people sleep on the A10 when it comes to the strength coaches that we have, because it's like you talk to people that it's like, oh, well, they went from this league to this league, and they went from this league to this league. But it seems more often than not, and I'm not peacocking here. So, like, if people aren't watching on YouTube and don't see the video, like, I'm not puffing my chest out saying this.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it just seems when people leave the A10, they go to the league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let's think about it. So let's start with Ben. Start with Ben Kenyon.
Ben Kenyon.
So we go Ben Kenyon to Portland.
Yep.
Of the strength coaches I'm aware of, you have Chase Campbell going to Orlando Magic. I'm sure Matt Johnson has had opportunities before he took over at Butler to join the league. So
and then Ed
that's
Street
right there.
Yep.
And then Ed Street at Dayton, from Dayton to the Lakers. Yeah.
Yep. And it's like,
so yeah, it's a pipeline.
it's crazy, and it's good ball with good teams and good universities that, they do things the right way. And I think that, what we were talking about before we got into this is the opportunity that presents itself for you. And I think that this is going to be a cool chat. So what is it that's got you fired up right now moving up to Kingston?
I'm looking. So when I was presented with the opportunity, I do what I normally do. I take a look at the roster. And after I take a look at our roster, I look at all the other rosters in the A-10. Obviously, coming from the G League, with all of the players and the scouting reports that we have, you take notice of certain schools. So you see St. Louis, you see Rhode Island on G League scouting reports, you see Richmond, you see the Daytons. So you see all these A-10 schools up and down the scout reports throughout the G League. I take a look at our roster. For me, it was an opportunity where we have a point guard who was first team all conference, and he's looking to go so that he's looking to take the next step. So for me, I said, okay, how can I enhance what he's doing? Then we look at, obviously we have up and down our roster, we have guys with pro potential. And it's okay, how can I take what I've experienced and what I have and my knowledge, and how can I impart it upon these guys to help them accomplish what they want to accomplish, and take care of their families and have the careers that they can have. So for me, when I look up and down the roster, that's all I saw. It was just opportunity after opportunity to help these guys out. And then getting the keys from Coach Cox. He's given me total autonomy and said, hey, like, this is your ship, down in the weight room or whatever else you want to do, it's on you. He's not a micromanager. He's giving me full reign, so we're in week 4. The guys are starting to get a feel for me, and I'm starting to get a feel for them. We're looking to hit the ground running.
I love that, man. And I think that that's pretty neat to hear that, you can see, those teams throughout the G League, and it's, I think that people, again, like, it's a league that I don't know if people really understand night in, night out, the quality of it. And it's fun, and it's good ball with a lot of good people. And I'd probably say that too much, that, like, to the point that people think I'm getting a check out of it or something. But, it really is. Like, we've got some good cats that work in this league, man, that, like, for the most part, like pregame warm-ups is almost like a family reunion. It's not like it's not like the typical, how we would maybe say, the football standoff. If you would say that nicely. But when you get into this situation, right, when you're replacing, a coach, how does a coach that came, again, with a professional background, right? I mean, Chase with the WNBA, but still a professional background. How does that help when it comes to getting in with the guys? And how does your lessons learned from your time with the G League really help drive what you're doing and how you're looking to move forward in this season that could be a little bit trippy?
Yeah. So obviously, one, the guys coming into it, I knew the guys had a great foundation with Chase, right? So, like, I didn't have to worry about, the work ethic all of like for me the non-negotiables, right? Like when they come in, they already know how to train, right? So like I'm not doing a whole lot of teaching, which one I think Chase for. So like we know that part's taken care of. Coming into a situation where, like you said, it's going to be an up and down year, just because of the pandemic that we have going on. If you know anything about G League basketball, it's very up and down, right? So you have your 10 roster guys. Just to give a quick synopsis of the G, you have your 10 roster G League players, and then whatever NBA team you're affiliated with, you have your two ways, and you have either first round or second round picks that might be on assignment. So at any time, you can have up to 4 to 6 guys from the NBA team, also your 10 G League guys. So the same way that our G League team works, the teams that you're playing operate the same way. So you could go into a scouting report, you like coaches meeting, before a scout or before a walkthrough in the morning, and the roster looks one way. And then by the time you get to game time, they might have 3 people added to their roster, right? Just because of, the NBA teams back home in that city, but they're not playing, but they still want the players to develop. So they send them down to, there's a G League game with their affiliated team, so they send them down. So now, whatever you're going into as far as programming, as far as monitoring guys' minutes, all of that changes, because the same way it might be for you. If you might be on the road, you might get a player, from the NBA team, he gets flown in to play that night. So you're projecting out what you're going to do with guys in the weight room, how to monitor guys' minutes. So a guy who is your, 5th G League guy, he gets affected by those assignments and those 2 ways coming down. His minutes get affected. So he might go from playing, 15, 20 minutes a game, he might get 8, 6 minutes. So like now, what do you do with him, throughout the week? Like how do you get him ready for the next game? Do you push? Do you pull back? You got to kind of figure all of these different things out, and it's constantly changing, day to day, week to week. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, being able to use that experience coming into this season. We right out the jump, we have 4 games in 5 days. We play a back-to-back, we're off, we play another back-to-back, and that's kind of, from what I get the gist of, that's kind of how the season's going to go, because we're trying to condense these games in. So just being able to draw on that experience into the season that's upcoming.
Totally non-training related.
Yeah.
That's got to be awful for those kids, man. For those guys, not like our kids, like we get to work with. When we're playing a 2 and then we're playing like 3 and 5 or something like that in Lexington to start out or something.
Yeah.
Like all that, be big boys. We'll figure it out. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
You got to hoop. You got to hoop.
Exactly.
But when you're setting up and you're fighting for your dream, and you have someone who just randomly shows up and puts you to the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be debilitating. Like that's got to like break people like almost like psychologically. How are it like, and then we're supposed to train them on top of that? Like, that's, man, like, oof. I don't know how else to say it other than oof,
I'm going to give him a shout out. Michael Cobbins helped me with this. He was our starting center. And great dude. Played at Oklahoma State. Great guy. So we were in a stretch in our G League season. He was our starting center. Things happened with the Wizards with the Wizards roster, where we have 2 bigs come down, and because when bigs come down for the NBA team, they need to play a certain amount of minutes, so that's going to squeeze someone else's minutes. So it's one thing usually to get one person that plays your position, and your minutes are going to be squeezed. You're getting 2 come down So you're really basically he didn't play. He didn't play for that particular game. He didn't play, but handled it like a complete pro, right? Still cheering his teammates on, like was just super positive. He could have easily sulked, "Hey, I'm the starter. I've been starting all season. We're almost at this point. We're like 20, 25 games in." He had every right to just completely sulk on the bench, not be interested in what's going on, give up on us, ask for a trade, whatever. But it was the exact opposite. It was the exact opposite. Next day he came in, "Hey Vince, what we got? What we got? What we doing? We did it. Okay, whatever." Like he helped me because I'm coming into the next training session like feeling bad for him. Like, oh my gosh, I got Mike this morning. He's probably not gonna be in a great mood. Yada yada. And he helped me out because I'm feeling bad for him, like you said. But at the same time, he helped me out, like just being a complete professional, saying, "Hey, this is the league. This is the league. This is what happens." So he, big shout out to Mike Collins.
So with that,
Mm-hmm.
I guess that it comes to two questions. Well, more of a statement than a question.
Gotcha.
You would think that professionalism in this day and age would be very rare.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to young people, but they typically don't take those sort of things great nowadays.
For sure.
And two, where do you think lessons like that are going to help you moving forward with the guys up there in URI?
I think for me, it's being able, and being able to take that situation and then let them know that that was one situation, but here's how Mike finished the season, right? Like, even like just in life in general. Again, not really talking training, just life in general. There are going to be bumps in the road that are going to happen, like things that are completely out of your control. How do you respond to it, right? Mike, he might. I mean, I'm assuming he's probably going to go overseas, this upcoming season. And the thing about it is, no one in our organization is going to have a bad word to say. Like we were just talking before we started recording about all of the connections, like how basketball is so intertwined. Like everybody knows everybody, right? One phone call, you're usually either one or two people removed from finding out about somebody, right? I went through my vetting process. I'm sure you went through your vetting process for your position. It's the same thing for players, right? So whatever you're always whatever the next chapter in the journey is for you, you can't let that one situation just kind of spiral out of control. And then, because people are going to call, people are going to ask, "Hey, how did he handle X, Y, Z? How does he handle adversity? How does, and you can say, well, guess what? When, X, Y, Z happened, this is how he handled it. Right. That's how you build, that's how you build your career, in this industry, in this business. It's not about, yes, the stats, they come along with it. But a lot of times, the thing I've learned from front offices don't want to have 15 head cases, right? You want to have a solid 5 that you don't have to worry about a thing, right? They're going to be in practice on time. You know what it is when you're getting a guy, right? Another 5, okay, it might be somewhere in between. But if you can be one of those guys that they don't have to worry about, that's automatically going to put you ahead in pack.
It's so funny how you said it like that. And I think that on top of that, if you're going to be one of those people that they have to worry about, to quote one of my players who we were talking about earlier today, we had a kid who made a couple mistakes. And he's like, for all this dude better be Shaq plus Giannis. It's kind of like, that kind of stupid, funny video that was like the crazy hot Matrix that guy did. Like, you better be LeBron if you're going to be the problem.
Exactly.
And that's even more for what we do, unfortunately.
Yeah. Like I always say, for me in this field, I want to be able to do my job. I want to be able to feed my family, and then I'm going home. Like I'm not, to me, I'm a very simple guy. I keep a small circle of friends. I want to be able to come in, do my job at a high level, you know, give the guys the best brand of training that I think, will affect and impact their games and help them to have long, healthy careers. I want to be able to provide for my wife and my family. And then after that, everything else, I don't really, worry about all of that. And I think that's one of the things, that's helped me get this far is that, one of the things that I'm proud of is that no matter, who, when I was getting vetted, no matter who they called, it was the same story. Whether you call somebody that I worked with 5 years ago, whether you call the person that I worked with just last year, it was always the same story. He's great. He's professional. The players love him. The players trust him. You're not going to have to worry about him. And, he's going to show up every day. He's going to do his job. That's, to me, that's what I want the story to be on Vincent Williams.
I'll tell you, man, I think that there's a lot of power to that statement that, I want to be able to do my job, feed my family, and then go home.
Yep.
I think that all too often people do the job to try to feed their family, but they don't do the third one.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. Yeah, to me, that comes from how I was raised. Just being, I'm a church boy. I was born and raised in church, and just having that grounding of service, right? Like you're no better than any other person. And I think, this is me, like to get on the soapbox, but a lot of strength coaches have kind of developed this ego where it becomes all about them. And it's like if I wasn't a strength coach, I would still be doing something where I was serving someone else, right? It just so happened that there was a perfect meshing with a strength coach. This role was kind of just what meshed with me as a person, right? So, just like not having an ego and, just always being about trying to just better someone else, at the core of the job, that's what the job is. And I think anytime where, younger strength coaches have reached out to me and I kind of want to see if they have that, because my time is precious. If I'm mentoring someone who I think is going to will have longevity in his career, or they kind of end it for themselves. That's kind of something you have to gauge, that I know I gauge when I'm talking about younger strength coaches. I'm only 31, but I was talking to BK. He kind of said, he's like, no, like you are where guys want to be now. Like, and it's kind of funny because I just feel like I was just an intern like not too long ago, but being in this spot now, he was like, no, you're right. Like people want to be where you are. People are seeing what you're doing. They want to know how to get there, so when I talk to, younger strength coaches, that's kind of something I want to gauge. Like, why are you in this? Why are you contacting me? Why do you want to get into this profession? Because as we've seen, there's an array of different strength coaches. And like at the core, to me, this job is about service.
And I think that that's a really awesome thing to tie in there too, going all the way back to like what you were saying about how, the coaches that you worked with in 2013, 15, 17, 19 are all going to say the same things about Vincent Williams.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, because Vincent Williams is at the University of Rhode Island, people think that he's a different coach than he was
exactly
when he was in,
exactly.
down at Foggy Bottom 8 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah. I like I said, I still think of myself as an intern. I still rack weights. I still clean. I still clean the weights. I still clean up, after my own lifts. And I was having this conversation with Brandy. We were talking about Brandy Walker. I said, I don't feel like I've made it until I have an intern. Like I know, guys at the Power 5 school, the Power 5 levels, I remember I was at Maryland. I was one of three. With 3 interns. I still have that mindset. I've worked in professional ranks. I've worked in, now having a quote unquote big time job, but my mindset is still of the guy back in Foggy Bottom, at the guy, I was working at the University of Maryland. I think that's kind of what's helped propel me, is that I haven't, as Coach Cox was saying, I haven't taken myself too serious. I don't think too highly of myself to think that someone else couldn't come in this role and do a better job, than me. I don't think so highly of myself to think that, I'm the savior of the program. No, I'm humble, that they would extend the offer to me to come join them. And I just think you just kind of have to keep that at the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think that in order to be a great mentor, you still have to keep that thought process of I'm still a mentee. And you have to continue to move forward, because and it's really easy, especially as you get older, trust me, as the older, to get stuck in a rut, stuck in your ways, and turn into an old curmudgeon, gray-haired strength coach. But the more you can keep that mentee mentality, the better you can be for everybody, not just the guys, but like the people underneath you.
For sure. Yeah, no, that's one of the things I love, about Ben and about Matt Johnson, about Brandy, about Kyle. It's always, it's either a phone call or a text message, and they're never too far away. Oh, I'll call you back. I have, whatever else going on. It's like, no, like, yeah, what do you need? What? They make time, for me. I know I don't, they have families, they have other obligations, they have other things going on. But, it's never nothing for them, to find 30 minutes of their time, for a phone call, or if it's a quick text message, hey, what are you doing for XYZ? Oh, here, take this number, call this person, do this. That's something, I'm extremely fortunate, and grateful for.
Yeah, and I think that, the more that you sit there and you look at it, like, people like to have these fake fights at times and like kind of slap box on the internet about some of this stuff. But really, there is a lot of like really good people that, like, at the end of the day, are the ones that are going to end up being the ones that rise to the top, because they're the people that, even if it is with the guys, I'll hit you back in 15. Like, there's people that no matter what, like, like you brought up BK a couple times, like, it isn't a monthly thing that I got to reach out to my man and I got to make sure he's doing good, because one, he's a good friend.
Yeah.
He's a great colleague. He's a great mentor. But two, you talk to this man and you're going to be gassed up at the end of it.
Yeah. No, for sure.
and whether you like it or not, when you talk to Ben, you're going to get saying the truth.
Exactly.
You're not going to sit here and like do the sugar-coated kind of BS that we all do with each other.
Exactly.
I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what magic he pulls through the phone or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 5G, like they say that thing's all weird. But like, he can pull like those real answers out of people, and the world needs more coaches like that, man. So kudos and more power to you for being so forthright and upcoming with all that.
We've had a couple talks, and when you get off the phone, you're kind of like, did he just say that to me? But you always go back for more. Like, it's weird, like a lot of people, he would say stuff to you and it's just like, I'm never calling him back, but it's exactly like he's like guess he's a strength coach whisperer. Like, he can go right there, he can go right there with you, meet you right where you're at. And when you come out of it, you kind of, but when you're done and you kind of reflect on what he's saying, it's like, he's right. Like, he's completely right, So, yeah.
I think that that's important. And I think that that's kind of one of the things that I'm trying to strive to be more of and better at, is being I think that what I would call that is a person that you have note-taking conversations with, meaning that like you talk with them and then after the conversation you write something down and you're like, I better remember this, like, because this is how I'm going to be better. And it's I think too, going all the way back with the lessons that you've taken with you and the steps along the way and how you were able to observe some of these really fascinating stories with the go, like that's a spot where you're ready to be in and you're going to be part of there. And that's pretty rad, dude.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I just going back to, I just want to mention this to like when you were talking about strength coaches that you talk to and you have to take notes. One of the things for me early on in the year, again, all of my positions and all of the internships are right in the DMV. Like I'm DMV born and raised. I love the DMV, love Prince George County to death. And one of the things that BK, and then one of the things I also got an opportunity to talk to Todd Wright. And when I talked to him, he said, I was kind of saying, well, like I want to stay around PG County. And he was kind of like, hey, like we're a coach, like you're a coach, you have to move around. And like, this is my first time outside of PG County, right? And so when he said that, when this opportunity came up, it's something I automatically went back to. I was like, and from the time he said that up until when I got the job here, I was kind of working on myself. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to leave. You're gonna have to leave. Like you've maxed out here. Like you're gonna have to leave. You're gonna have to leave. And then kind of bringing it forward. So like you were saying, seeing what I've seen and bringing it here, like now I see why. I see like what I've seen, being here, going on a month now, like I see exactly why I'm here. Like I could have been married to being in the DMV and being in PG County, but I see now, I see exactly why, I'm here.
I love it, dude. I really do. And I think that, having those people there that are able to help you kind of move forward and build those things, I think that that's really important. And, I think that the continued growth mindset, we would both agree, is one that is, I mean, I don't even know if there's a word to quantify how important it is, but, Vincent, this has been a great 30 minutes, man. Before we get going out of here, man, where can people see more of what you're doing, keep in touch, follow you, all those things?
I am on Instagram. I am, what's my handle? Vincent Williams, CSCS on Instagram. On Twitter, I am at VD Williams, CSCS. I'm sorry for the two separate handles. I got to work on my social media game. But those two handles. And then if ever you want to just, reach out, send me an email. You can email me at williamscscs@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from people. We'd love to get feedback. Offer any kind of advice that I can offer.
Vincent, I love it, man.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Welcome to the league, buddy. Looking forward to catch up at center court really soon, man. And
for sure.
And brother, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you, man.
Cheers. Thank you, Coach. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. We'll be in touch real soon, buddy.
Absolutely.
All right, man.